And everyone is thinking TJ Watt is about to get traded from the Steelers. And it's all because of TJ Watt's cryptic Instagram story yesterday. This is what he posted. Just a picture of him throwing up the peace sign. That's it. And people were running with it, saying he's gone. He's throwing up the deuces to Pittsburgh. He's saying, I'm out of here. That's it. He's getting traded. Like that's the assumptions going on right now. That's what Steeler Nation's thinking. Now, since it's cryptic and there's literally nothing else to this post, it's just the picture. There's no words. That's it. That's all we got to go off of. It's cryptic. It's up for interpretation. It could mean anything. Why does it got to mean he's not coming back to Pittsburgh, that he's saying bye to Pittsburgh, and that he's gone, that he's about to get traded? Why does it got to mean that? What if, I have some theories, what if TJ thinks Mason Rudolph should be the starter, and he's tired of waiting for Aaron Rodgers? Mason Rudolph's number is 2. Maybe this is a support post from TJ Watt for Mason Rudolph to be Steelers QB1. What if he just went to the bathroom and wanted to let everyone know that he took his daily dose? He's saying, hey, guys, I went number 2 today. Or how about this third option? What if he's so motivated for this upcoming season, he thinks this is the year he's going to get depoy number 2? It should be depoy number 4, but that's a different conversation. All I'm saying is, like, why do we got to jump to the most negative thing right away when we see cryptic posts or just any player of our favorite sports teams just posting out a picture like this? Why do we got to jump to it being negative that, oh, he's unhappy, he wants to get traded, he's not going to be in Pittsburgh anymore? I think it's just because we're humans and it's what we do. It's how we're wired. It's a protective mechanism within us. And unfortunately, in this case, that reaction, that negative knee-jerk reaction, the popular sentiment that's out there regarding TJ Watt may be more in line with what's true than being wrong. Unfortunately, because had a couple of reporters that would be in the know regarding this situation followed up via their respective outlets today. Ian Rappaport the first, and he doesn't think what TJ Watt posted to Instagram was just nothing. He doesn't believe the contract negotiations are going well with TJ Watt and the Steelers right now. He said on Good Morning Football, when a player makes a cryptic social media post, it's almost never nothing. So let's assume, for the sake of the argument, for the sake of me actually having a reason to talk about this, that it is something. Generally, when a player makes a social media post that forces us to talk about it on TV like we're doing right now, it's because contract negotiations are not going as well as anyone had hoped. I think we can safely say that contract negotiations between TJ and the Steelers are not off to a rip-roaring start. Doesn't mean that they won't get there. They've gotten there before. He is a great player who deserves any penny. Maybe that's a typo. Maybe it should be every penny. But it's not just Rappaport. Like I said, there was another guy in the media that had some things to say about this, and it was Mark Caboli. He took to Twitter and said, after talking to people, I'd keep an eye on this Steelers TJ Watt contract situation moving forward a little bit more closely. It doesn't appear that the IG picture he posted yesterday was just by chance. I'd imagine an extension is still going to eventually get done, but the price tag just might be a tad bit higher than some anticipated. So you got 2 people in the know. You got 2 legit reporters here. This isn't just fans. This isn't just us from the outside running with this and giving our speculation on it. We got Mark Caboli and Ian Rappaport talking about this picture and both saying similar things about what it's referring to. and that is the contract negotiations, the contract talks between TJ and the Steelers. Not off to a great start. Not off to a great start at all. I think this is going to go on for a while. I think we're going to be talking about this TJ Watt contract stuff for a good portion of this offseason. This is going to be like how it was a few years ago when TJ was looking for that extension. It felt like we were bringing that up basically like every other day throughout the offseason until he finally signed the contract. I think it was at the end of preseason. It was towards the end of August. There was only like a week or two before the season actually started when TJ went up into the offices and said, you know what, screw it. I've had enough of this. Let me just sign the damn deal. And then you had stories like, you know, the Ayuk trade saga last offseason, the Deontay contract stuff a few off seasons ago, Minka, same thing. I think that's what it's going to be the theme this offseason, the TJ contract stuff. Right now, it's Rodgers. Rodgers is taking some steam away from the TJ contract talks. But once we figure out what's going on at quarterback, I think the whole conversation shifts. The focus is going to shift to this TJ Watt contract extension and when's it going to get done? Because both sides have a case for wanting things done their way. And for the Steelers, they would want TJ back, but they don't want it at the going market rate. I could see them looking at the Garrett and Crosby deals and saying to themselves, those teams really overpaid. The Browns and Raiders, those were ridiculous numbers that they just paid out to Myles Garrett and Max Crosby. Just because they did it, we don't have to do it. But then I can see TJ Watt saying, I'm better than both of those guys. If that's the market, so be it. It's not my fault. If Garrett's getting 40, I deserve 41. But Steelers, again, this is just going to be the whole back and forth this situation because the Steelers could also be thinking to themselves multiple other things. Like, is edge rusher really valued the same as what it once was? Everyone thought, 3, 4, 5 years ago that you pay your quarterback the top dollar, they're getting paid the most on your team. And then after that, it's the guy getting to the quarterback, specifically the edge rusher. I don't know if it's that way anymore in today's NFL and how everything has shifted so much towards offense. You're seeing some of these receivers getting paid as much as the edge rushers now. Jamar Chase, $40 million. Justin Jefferson last year, $35 million. And I'm starting to think rightfully so with just the dynamic of the NFL and how things are shifting so much towards offense and how a lot of these offensive coordinators, a lot of these quarterbacks are getting smarter with how they scheme things up. You can take a TJ Watt away from the game plan. Whereas if you're paying guys on offense, if you're loaded on offense with how you're shelling out your money to your team, you're the one in control. Literally, that's the definition of being on offense. You're creating. Then the defense is trying to defend. You can make things happen. You can scheme stuff up to get receivers open. Your quarterback has the ball in his hand every play. Whereas, and we saw it at the end of last year, TJ Watt was kind of a no-show those last 6-7 weeks. Offenses can take a TJ Watt out of the game with how they scheme things up and how they plan things up. And then you're wondering when you have games where TJ Watt doesn't really do much, man, what we're paying this dude like 35, 40 million bucks. I wonder if we could be spending that money better elsewhere. I think the Steelers have their case for not wanting to pay TJ Watt over 40 million bucks. And then TJ Watt has his case for wanting that money, knowing that he's been perennially the best defender in the league year in and year out, even on a down year or a bad year. It's still like a top 5 season in terms of defenders in the NFL. Like TJ Watt had a down year last year. And what was he like? Was he number 2? Was he number 2 or 3 in the Deep Boy awards voting? So if Myles Garrett got 40, Max Crosby got 35, and who knows what Micah Parsons is going to get, TJ deserves more than all 3 of those guys. I don't think TJ is wrong for thinking that. But again, if you're the Steelers, a rebuttal to that is, TJ, you're getting up there in age, getting older, 30. And you had that down second half of last season. And when you're paying someone this type of money, 40 million bucks per season, you're expecting them to get better as the contract ages out, or at least stay the same and stay at that elite level of play. Is that going to be a guarantee for TJ at 30, turning 31, 32, 33, 34? Are we going to be getting those 15, 16 sack seasons year in and year out? 4 or 5 forced fumbles when TJ's 33? Because that's part of the equation here too. This isn't just a 1-year deal where we're making sure TJ gets his money next year and that's it. Let's get TJ the proper market value for 2025. No, this is going to be a 4 or 5 year deal where the ramifications and the consequences of making the signing are going to affect you into 2028, 2029, 2030. And is TJ Watt still going to be TJ Watt at that point? Is TJ Watt still going to be deserving of a $45 million cap hit? These are legit questions. These are legit things to bring up, especially when you consider the Steelers' overall team success while TJ Watt has been in his prime and we've been paying him top of the market for these last 4 or 5 years. We haven't done much, man. We haven't done much. And when you look at the alternatives, if you're saying to yourself, what could we do with that $40 million instead of paying it to TJ Watt? And what could we get in a trade for TJ Watt right now? If we can't get this thing to work, are the alternatives actually better than moving forward with TJ Watt and paying him $40 million bucks in terms of getting this team right, in terms of getting this team back to Super Bowl caliber? It's a fair question to ask, especially when you look at all the parameters of this deal, the context surrounding this. It's not just a 1-year deal. If it's just for this year, yeah. And with us getting Aaron Rodgers and knowing that we just made this DK Metcalf trade, we tried to refortify the defense with some of these signings this offseason. We're in a win now mode. We could absolutely afford to give TJ the 40, still pay Rodgers, have a really nice team in place for this year. But how's it going to affect us long term? How's that contract going to age out? And that's the problem with some of this stuff. That I would have no problem paying TJ Watt the market value, above market value for this year. I don't think TJ is going to be falling off a cliff or anything in 2025. TJ Watt is still going to be some version of TJ Watt, even if it is something like what we saw last year. It's not the bona fide decoy TJ, but he's still a top 5 defender in the league. Because even at that amount, that's legitimately helping you win a championship, giving yourself a best chance to win next year. But again, 3-4 years down the line, how's that looking? Don't get it twisted. Please don't get my sentiments wrong here. I do want TJ Watt. I want him to be a Steeler for life. I do think something gets done. But this could be a while. This really could be a while. I think the main sticking point or the main thing that's going to be the fork in the road here, it's just going to come down to how much TJ Watt really wants to be a Steeler for life and help this team win a championship versus getting the top dollar. That's what it's going to come down to. Because if I'm the Steelers and TJ Watt really wants top dollar, he wants 43, 44 million, wants to set the market, wants a 4 or 5 year deal. If I'm the Steelers, man, you got to be seriously considering the alternative, which would be trading TJ Watt, getting some draft picks, and then having some of that available money to use elsewhere. Not necessarily, and that's the whole problem with this situation, because I don't think that helps us for this year. Not having TJ Watt doesn't help us for this year. And if we're getting Aaron Rodgers, we've made some of these moves this offseason, we are in a certain win now mode. So that's part of it as well. That's absolutely going to be a part of it as well. That helps TJ's leverage. But the alternative of getting some draft pick, getting a first. I don't know what you get for TJ. Is it a first round pick and a second round pick? So getting those picks plus the cap space you're freed up over the next however many seasons to spend it on, like, what could you do with $40 million? You could get two $20 million cornerbacks. You could get a $25 million receiver and then also a $15 million edge rusher, inside linebacker, a safety. You could maneuver that $40 million. You could get three quality starters on the offensive line. Probably maybe two high-end starters on the offensive line if you want to do that. Broderick Jones isn't working out. You go out there and pay for a starting left tackle. Although, what quality left tackle are you actually getting? Because if Dan Moore is getting $20 million, I mean, my God, I don't know. maybe there's just market inflation out there at certain positions that we don't want to be dealing with. But yeah, you got to be considering it. That's all I'm saying. It wouldn't be. I'm just gonna say to you this way. I don't think it would be a wrong move for the Steelers' future, long-term future, to make a trade like that. But I wouldn't want to do it. If push came to shove, we get Rodgers, and you're telling me we could pay TJ Watt this $40+ million contract. After seeing how we did some of these offseason moves, getting a DK Metcalf, I think you got to bring back TJ Watt. I think it's a different story if we started our offseason by getting rid of Tomlin and making some huge wholesale changes, and we traded a player or two, and it's just a different vibe. It's a different energy with where we're at in some of these moves that we've made. It looks like we're really trying to do something in 2025 and make some noise. We're not in this rebuild mode and tear the whole thing up from the ground up. We're not in that mode. So I think you would just have to pay TJ and hope that he ages the contract out. Awesome. Like Cam Hayward has done with his deals. It wouldn't be a wrong move. It wouldn't be a wrong move either way. How about that? I don't think it would be a wrong move for the Steelers' future to trade TJ. I don't think it would be a wrong move either to take a chance and give a dude top dollar for a guy that you know. Because like I just said, with freeing up that money and spending it elsewhere in future free agency periods or future off seasons, man, maybe you're paying for the wrong guys. Maybe you're bringing in some guys that their value's inflated just because they're on the open market and you're not exactly getting what you pay for. At least you know what you're getting from TJ Watt in terms of the hardworking attitude that he's the Steeler mentality, all that stuff. You at least know that, even if he's getting up there in age, even if he's not going to be prime TJ, sometimes it's better to go with like the devil as opposed to what you don't know. And I think even if he doesn't age the contract out amazingly, he's not going to make it a terrible investment for you. It's not going to be this god-awful deal. Even if it's not going to be amazing, there's a certain floor to it. But knowing TJ Watt, who knows? Who knows with him, man? He could age it out well. He could prove the Steelers right by giving him $40 million, and maybe we see him turn back the clock for these next however many seasons, right? Because TJ Watt is one of those type of players. It's just how he finished last season was a cause for concern. It definitely was. And the fact, too, we don't have a playoff win with him on the roster either. Makes you wonder, man. It definitely makes you wonder if just paying TJ Watt $40 million and paying him top market value is the right approach. Just because other teams did it with their star edge rushers doesn't mean the Steelers got to do it either. Because, I mean, the Browns, with Myles Garrett getting that money, Browns, come on, dude. Like, they're not any closer to getting to a championship with paying him that. I mean, they're not at all. Max Crosby, Raiders, does anyone actually they could be a cool story this year with Pete Carroll, Geno Smith. Are they actually winning a championship? That's why I'm so critical of what we do in the offseason and how we're trying to build this team up and how just everything's situated, because it all matters. And like at the end of the day, we're trying to get back to winning Super Bowls, not just being relevant. To win Super Bowls, you got to have elite quarterback play. And that's the thing. This TJ Watt deal ain't holding us back from getting an elite quarterback, at least in 2025. So that's another way to look at it. That's another reason why I think you just get the deal done, man. I think you just take care of it and hope that it ages out well. But at least for the here and now, you got TJ Watt on the roster. You got TJ Watt happy, and you're going to be taking a crack at it for 2025. And the other thing, too, it's not like TJ Watt is going to fall off a cliff next year, as I said previously. So if we find ourselves at the end of 2025 looking at the team and looking at the coaching staff, just looking at where we're at and saying to ourselves, this ain't it, but we actually have to blow it up at this point. TJ Watt's trade value isn't going to go down the tubes. Maybe it's not going to be as high as what it would be right now, but it's not going to go down the tubes. You'd still be able to trade TJ Watt, get an asset or two, and offload that contract. So another thing to consider. So I'm talking myself into getting this TJ Watt deal done. I definitely am. This wasn't necessarily my energy, and you guys would know because I made a video about giving TJ Watt a contract extension probably like a month ago. This wasn't as much my energy then, but I didn't know what we were going to be doing this offseason. I didn't know what moves we were going to be making, how this whole thing was going to be playing out. Because as we sat there like a month ago, and I was reacting to, I think it was JJ Watt's comments about how teams need to pay your star players early so you don't have to pay for it later with the market going up and these contracts getting more and more lucrative. I was like, man, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I still have similar opinions that I held back then, but I think I was less apt. I was less apt, even defiant about the idea of paying TJ Watt like $40 million. I was like, bro, if he wants that, we got to trade him. Now I'm like, if he wants it, it's a tough spot to be in, but I think push comes to shove, we got to pay it, at least next season's sake. Now, part of that's hinging on Rodgers. Because if we don't have Rodgers and TJ wants 40 plus million, then maybe you do start rethinking your timeline. Maybe you aren't as all in for 2025, understanding that this might be a bridge year, a gap year, and you get the picks. You spend some capital in the first round on quarterback, see what him and Mason can do in the offseason, let them duke it out, and then, you're looking at a rebuild maybe. Maybe if again, TJ's unhappy, you can't come to an agreement on this thing, Rodgers ain't here, that might have to be some information you look at there too. Yeah, it might have to be. So Rodgers first. We got to figure out Rodgers first. If Rodgers comes here, just get the TJ deal done. Just brace yourself and hope that it all works out in the long term. For 2025, you know it at least is going to be helping your team. You know it at least what you got for 2025. But going forward, things could get dicey. Who knows? But that's it for today's show. Yeah, just want to talk these TJ Watt contract talks and how they're going between the Steelers and TJ. I see this being a thing we discussed throughout the course of this offseason. I think it's going to be a major story. I don't think it's going to get done anytime soon. What's funny is, too, this is TJ's first cryptic post. This is the first time we got this from him. This isn't the first time he's thrown some heat out on the internet, on social media, because he posted some stuff those times when he got snubbed from the depot. But this is the first time we got something cryptic. Nice. If he wants to take the next step of doing the whole superstar cryptic post type of thing, I'm unhappy with my current situation. Now he's got to scrub the Instagram, scrub the social media of Steelers stuff. That's the next step. That's the next phase. So watch out for that. Scrub the social media of Steelers stuff and only have pictures of like you and your brother and like you and your wife. But all right, guys, that's it for today's show. Hopefully this thing gets figured out. Hopefully TJ takes a hometown discount. 35 million per year. And everyone's happy. Maybe TJ wouldn't be that happy about it, but still 35 million. Not a bad payday. But yeah, have a great weekend out there. Here we go, Steelers. Talk to you next week. Peace.